in the evening of July 4th in the year 2017. I want to thank Andrew for your message. I want to let people know there is a way you can still comment on my work on YouTube by commenting on the channel front page. You may not be able to comment on the individual videos. We'll talk a little bit about that right now. And what you don't have to deal with on your channel, and especially if you don't have any videos, especially if you're not calling out the humping of the Trump, and you're not mixed race, and if you're not calling out the white genocide hysteria, then you're not dealing with the type of hate that I get when I leave my comment section open. And there's other places for you to comment on my work other than that one medium. So there's been 2 comments on my work over the course of the last 24 hours. No one on Twitter, no one at the .tv page. But we will go ahead and cover a few stories here. It is very hot here in the studio. Because the nature of the content, I do these videos more or less inside without a fan running while I'm recording. So please bear with me. First thing, we will hear from Andrew. By the way, my topic in this video is letting go from the psychosis that we need to wake all these people up. We need to survive what's happening to us. That doesn't mean that we are unable to help others. We need wisdom. And we should pray to the Creator for that wisdom, to know the difference between that which we can change and that which we're powerless to change. So he writes, and I'll just read part of this. I'm assuming that he's okay with me sharing this, and I think it's good for the audience to hear this as well, because I'm sure other people feel this way. I've gotten other messages from people that understand this content and are concerned as well. He writes, I'm not the kind of person who normally sends messages on YouTube, but I've been inspired by some of your recent videos. I want to explain to you my personal experience. Political leanings more towards Gary Johnson. He's outside the left-right paradigm. Point out that he's a white male engaged in African-American woman who currently lives in the UK, and I am born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. I have seen firsthand the shift in American politics and race relations these past years, and like you, I am scared. I am approaching 30, and I remember being a 90s kid. I could absolutely imagine seeing you and your dad out in Oregon, and no one would have thought anything of it. Now, if I was Muslim or even a visible minority, there are certain parts of the country I would think twice about going to. Growing up pre 9/11, I thought America was a melting pot, and we pride ourselves in kicking out what little racist ideology resided. Boy, was I wrong. I was oblivious for a long time myself, being somewhat right leaning, listening to Fox News in the past, Alex Jones. I never saw the simmering undercurrent of hate. Or perhaps I ignored it when it did flash its head because, like the exception and not the rule. Now, as I read through comment sections here, news headlines about mixed race commercials on TV causing floods of racist comments and watching my country around me decay, which was once the exception, now seems like the rule. I'm no longer comfortable living in my country, knowing my mixed race children will be exposed to being called dehumanizing slurs online. Knowing if they have unique or objective viewpoints or political issues, they may find themselves with no friends at all. You are not alone. I am witnessing the hate. I feel threatened as a person, and it hurts. Recently, a few people on social media I didn't know said some very nasty and racist things to a picture of my fiance and I. I am also out here in the Bay Area, and I've been rejected by both the left and the right. I feel alone in the wilderness politically, demographically, and culturally. People don't seem to care anymore about the pain of others. It's a scary time to be alive. However, knowing I'm not the only one who feels this way makes me feel more connected. And I thank you. So I'm going to read a few other things that I've been seeing on social media. And I see a need for a powerful voice now on our planet. for all people. Powerful voice that can back some of these forces of evil off, that can help unplug the minds of people that together can create a powerful current of positive energy. However, what will be will be. And we are seeing the nation slide into these dark ages. And it's a cold, calculated design. And who knows how long it will be before things really begin to collapse within this nation. I've given you my timeline. At least for a manufactured conflict, that's not the same thing as a full-on collapse where the grid is down, where there's no power, and things of that nature. We could be even further off from that point. But certain wheels are in motion, and I pray for the guidance and the wisdom. I want to make the very best use of my gifts. Right now, the gifts that I feel that I have feels like a curse. People misunderstand things and they act like robots, like they're supposed to act like we're in a race war now just because people are having feelings. And there's this witch hunt now for those with feelings. Social justice warrior, blah, blah, blah. I just hear evil demons. Just evil, evil, evil. No feeling, no emotion. It's another part of me, it's just like, Alex, relax, step back, look at the bigger picture. There's something really big going on here with this stew of souls. It's like they're about to be cooked and ingested. Who knows what's going on with these souls that are being entrapped? But something big is going down. This is not random. See the larger picture. I don't want to use cliches like, have hope, everybody. We're sliding somewhere. We have to discuss psychological survival, emotional survival. I wish I knew people in the western half of the state, and I don't. I wish I had allies in my community, and I don't. And what do I have to show for the last 12 years of my life? Over 4,000 videos trying to warn you, trying to help you in some way, shape, or form. I've even heard from people that they received information, inspiration from my earlier shows that motivated them to move off the grid. And I see how I've helped people with information. And sometimes I wonder how they have ever tried to help me. But I do feel helped. It's just that, like some of you, I'm alarmed. And there are people that are white that are alarmed. They should be concerned. They should be alarmed, as should I. When there are aspects of, and I hate these labels, but we're stuck with it, aren't we? In these illusions of separation where such a thing as color is real. So when you have white supremacy and racism rising, aspects of that coming out of white America, that makes a very less safe America for white people, for white men, for white women in general. People talk about that book about white girl bled a lot or something to that effect. There's a lot of things out there, literature that's geared towards frightening white people, but it doesn't educate them about, and it doesn't excuse the attacks on them. But there's an aspect of our media, an aspect of our military, an aspect of our government that is really just using white supremacy and things like that to continue to create a chaotic situation for everybody. And most people don't know the first thing about what controls this government or the system. It's far more evil and sinister and organized and beyond the Rothschild or Rockefeller conspiracy theory, which is quite popular, but is barely surface level with regards to who or what is really controlling this. So there's a lot of negative emotion on the planet now, and this is actually a very depressing day, not only for myself, but for others, more so than maybe other 4th of Julys. So you went through the 8 years of Obama, and then you had all these people, and we're switching over USA, USA, and they're acting like this is change from Obama, change we can believe in, to make America great again. And it's nothing worth celebrating. It's frightening. Because historically, we see what happens to nations that go down this path, that go down this particular path. And we also see that many of us have been lied to if we've received information, whether we believed it or didn't believe it. If you've been involved in alternative thought, including alternative spirituality, most of you have also heard these promises of this collective shift in consciousness that by this time, by 2016, by 2017, we would have greatly overthrown the powers that be. And when you look at the world today and how many people have fallen into this, is that what you're seeing, or are you seeing the opposite? Let's read some headlines. By the way, no solar flares tonight. It's a quiet night. If there was a lot of activity with regards to that, we would probably be reading about drive-by shootings and things of that nature. So I want to mention a few things that are happening like in the last 24 hours. There's a story I posted about a man that was beaten by a mob for trying to help a young girl find her parents. It was at a ball game. He thought she was lost, and the mob beat him up. And I'm thinking, gee, with all this hysteria going on, I wonder if they were white and he was maybe East Indian or Middle Eastern looking. Lo and behold, I Google his name, and I find a number of other people with a similar last name as him, and they are clearly East Indian. So this man was misidentified to be a kidnapper. The police investigated. He has been found innocent, and the police told him, stop targeting this guy on social media. He's innocent of kidnapping your daughter. And I find this interesting because we live in such an inverted world that people that would try to help other people or their neighbor, I think about all the warnings that I've given and how people can misinterpret that as soothsaying and call someone a witch, call someone evil, call someone a conspiracy theorist. And if they have a sense of anger towards that person's appearance because the day, the time, the place, the era in which we live, which we do right now, we're seeing massive increase on people that appear East Indian. Without a doubt, I think the tensions of the world and the programming of a false Islamic invasion may have infected this father's mind to the point where he may have believed in his own mind that he was being invaded at that moment by Sharia law. As we continue to the next story, there has been another mass shooting outside a mosque. 8 people have been injured after gunmen opened fire outside a mosque in southeast France. In other news, in Portland, a guy just ran out in traffic when he lost his mind, and someone that was drunk killed him. I'm seeing a lot more images of dead children. I'm seeing more people turn their eyes away from this. I'm seeing people turn away from the reality that it wasn't very long ago that they were being told that 1 in 4 Syrian immigrants were planning terrorism, and they would repeat such talking points on the YouTube comment section of social media. And now we have this article from Mint Press News. Syrian refugees returned to Syria, and they were running from ISIS. The disinformation from the mainstream media was that they had allegiances to ISIS and that they were running from Assad, and that is bullshit. As we continue on, real feminism is standing up for the oppressed women of the world, not fawning over the women of the world who are among the oppressors. It's a meme I mentioned earlier from Mint Press News that was published in the last few days. As we see more people with a focus on organic farming and organic food and what they think is a positive, intentional community, instead of people showing compassion for innocent people that are being violently removed off this planet. I've also noticed more comments on the video with regards to intentional communities and being very careful about what intentional communities you choose to join or become a part of. Give me a sec, I hear some noise outside. One of the things that keeps me on edge here from time to time is the traffic. I know that I've mentioned to you before that I'm off the grid, but I'm also near a main road. So the aggressive sound and vibration of big trucks goes right by the shed. So it's a pretty common thing for me to be distracted. So there's a reason why I try to keep my videos inside the shed, because there's just too many people outside. I'm hearing some really strange sounds. Like I said, it would be good to know people in the western half of the state of Colorado, and to know that I've been speaking to you, thousands of you, all these years. And it's come down to the fact that I could be taken out at any moment's notice. And it's all in the hands of the Creator. I'm literally all alone. I literally stand before the Creator bearing this knowledge. Literally having people give me feedback on social media from two women today that they are not seeing my posts regarding what's happening in the Middle East, but they'll see my other posts. Somehow, some way, I don't know how it's being done, but the posts that I do on Facebook regarding the Middle East are not being seen. And the question is, how much is being filtered out also on YouTube? I know that the bots are demonetizing many of my videos, and I went from an average of 500 a month, 700 on a good month, but I would usually always make 400. This is through at least half of last year, and now it's gone to about 80 a month. How does someone live off that? Especially without an audience chipping in. So it's starting to get complicated, and it's starting to get crazy. And in other news, it's also come out that Facebook's algorithm, which I've told you has been promoting fake news and disinformation regarding a false Islamic invasion for a long, long time, it's not filtering out the racism that it claimed that it would towards minorities. It's being said that it's solely filtering out racism towards whites. And as I look at Zuckerberg, I realize the agenda that he is actually serving. And it's not the agenda that people think that he's serving. There's a lot of people confused and thinking that certain people have a leftist agenda, that certain people love immigrants, where they don't even realize the reality that many on the left and the right share some of the same ethnocentric behavior and hatred and confusion, and calling people that aren't even Muslims Muslims, when that is really not even accurate. When we're discussing attacks on Sikhs and attacks on East Indians, and all of it is relevant. Because as I said, there are unconscious elements of humanity that instead of responding with philosophy as I am, even though it's reaching very few of you, and I find that to be very sad in this day and age where people act like they respect philosophy, but it's like there's nowhere at the place for myself. They give attention to the extremists, whether they're promoting them on one side or demonizing them on the other. They give attention to extremist behavior, and people ignore the people doing good things, and they give plenty of attention to that which they hate. I ask the Creator for the wisdom as to what I do with this knowledge, as opposed to spinning my wheels, because this is a painful experience, watching our society go slow motion and knowing that my whole life is marked by discussing the very things that people told me my whole life I was crazy about for discussing or believing, or certain narratives, questioning certain political narratives. As we return to the news wire, we can see a woman lost her cat to an attack in southeast Portland. The cat was decapitated. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot more people that would respond to a story like that, or a dog being hurt, than an actual family. There's a picture I shared in my associate's Facebook page, and a lot of the people that comment on his work are really cruel people on the right. So there's a picture of literally a Middle Eastern man who was defending his mother from an attack in London. And the people were upset that it was being posted. The people were upset that something was being posted about Muslims being under attack. Like, we can't come to their aid. They're a violent theology. This isn't about racism. And it's very unfortunate because it is really about racism when it's not Muslims, just Muslims being attacked. It's people that are confused for being Muslims because they have over Arabic, Persian, or other Middle Eastern features. Another headline: you fucking stupid Muslim. Man who tore off woman's veil, sentenced to prison. And we have very few stories in which I read about people sentenced to prison. There are people saying that they are overreacting to certain hate crimes, and perhaps that's the case, but there's a lot of other things that aren't even being reported because the shame associated with being reported. And once you end up in the media, these people become targets of the neo-Nazi websites. They go after people. They go after people on social media. They go after people physically. There's going to be things happening in the next few years with Middle Eastern communities perhaps being firebombed, some of their daughters continuing to disappear. It could be worse than what it is, but it's still building and building and building. And yet here we are in the 4th of July as people celebrate, and they don't care that it's not real. They still enjoy their hot dogs. They still enjoy their red, white, and blue made in China flag. They really don't want to think too much. That they enjoy their little crowds where people are cheering USA, USA, USA. It's like some sort of Aztec survival death cult, you know, with skull and bones and the pirate flag and the whole 9 yards. And I said before, I think I came in this lifetime with a different view of women. I viewed them as more empathetic and loving and opposing to the death machine. And maybe that's because I'm in a time and a place because where women really are against those things, against war. Maybe I'm from the future. Maybe there's a future ahead where we've learned from our lessons and women get it. And I'm thrust back in time to another time and place and matrix to where it literally is the return of the Middle Ages. It doesn't matter that people have their smartphones and cell phones. How do people celebrate while others are dying and literally melting and having acid thrown on them? What kind of a reality is this? What are we doing here? Now we have to watch out because the program to kill ourselves is strong. The evilest world wants the consciousness to extinguish its light. So it won't be here to oppose the darkness and the rise of darkness. Another acid attack: minicab driver working for Goldline Courier Minicab Services. Passenger attacked him with acid in Beckton. Luckily, he had water in his car. New report reveals over half of hate crimes in the United States go unreported. Royal Military Police allege British Special Forces executed civilians in Afghanistan. Hundreds of allegations of illegal killings. And on another note, not related to the Middle East, government forces families to flee their cabins and destroys them. There are unpermitted cabins, and I think this relates to a certain part of Canada or near Alaska. The government is stepping in. And then people ask themselves, when it happens to them, how can this happen in America? How are we not allowed to live on our own land? And many of these same Americans keep their mouths shut about people being droned on their own land. And yet we can't see what's coming to America. We see what's coming to America and it hurts. Because we can see what's coming before it happens and we feel powerless to stop it. Well, I appreciate that person writing, Andrew. And I've really gotten hundreds to thousands of messages over the last decade. And if everyone that sent a message like that just stuck around, I could reach more people. I'm going to ask those that are watching now to stick around. To stick around. Remember my name, Alex Ansary. Okay. You're sitting there on the internet. You're not getting the independent dialogue that you want. Alex Ansary. I don't have everything updated at the website. Go to my YouTube channel. Go to my Twitter feed. If you're on Facebook, like facebook.com/alexansary.tv, see what I'm discussing that day. I remember to go to Activist Post. I remember to go to shitthefanplan.com. I don't like everything that they post. I look at what content they're putting out at theantimedia.org. I look at antiwar.org. I look at Kurt Nimmo Another Day in the Empire. I stay away from Doug Owens' blacklistednews.com at this point. I don't touch Infowars.com. I don't touch Paul Joseph Watson. I don't go to Red Ice Creations. I don't go to rents.com. I stay away from places where they're using overt racism to promote their agenda. Okay. And I return to those trusted news sources, and I don't have to agree with everything that they. One time I saw something that activist Vinny from activistpost.com, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I thought you were better than this. But see, I just shrug it aside, right? Sometimes people spend too much time on the conspiracy end of things and they forget about spirit, even if they do copy paste an article about consciousness that they read about on Facebook. There's a lot of people out there that have been reading about consciousness and stuff and watching YouTube videos. They really need to go outside and consult with the sun, a living intelligence. I didn't say God. I didn't say to sacrifice a pile of ants to the sun. I'm saying I believe that the sun is conscious, a conscious entity. Who knows? Perhaps this information that I've been collecting about the sun and our connection to it, maybe it's going to be more of an asset to humanity in the future. And maybe that's where I need to hone my focus. And maybe some of you may not understand it now. Maybe some of you do. Hey, I'm open to your feedback along those lines, but I think that we should understand these cycles that we're in. And it certainly seems like we're going to a cycle of the dark ages. And I sure as hell would like to see the other side of it. But I'm afraid it's going to be a long time. I'm afraid it's going to be a really long time. So we have to continue to be healthy in mind, body, and spirit, and realize that we may be here as long as we need to be here. We need to back off the self-destruct program because it's there. And we have an ignorant society that is not acknowledging the spiritual attack on humanity, and its hands are up in the air with regards to the suicide rates because it is not willing to look within the depths of the spiritual bankruptcy within humanity. It has not yet come to a state of admission or awareness or contemplation or consciousness of this reality. Many people are yet spiraling. So we're talking about the dollar being propped up through inflation. We have people that are still propping up their own illusions. They're still spiraling. They haven't hit bottom yet. They haven't literally dropped down to their knees, not to sound too religious, but in a way, sometimes it requires someone to really drop down to their knees, metaphorically and literally, and ask the Creator for help, ask the Creator for guidance, ask the Creator for knowledge, for answers, once they realize they don't have everything figured out and that the world doesn't revolve around the United States. I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock that you can be someone that can call this and be ignored by the world because you're considered a non-tribal member. Because for whatever reason, enough people just don't trust you. And I'm speaking of myself, and this is what I believe now. It is like that scene from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the movie, where he walks into the bar and the reptilians, the dinosaurs, are fucking. And he's like, get me out of this place. Get me out of this place. Well, I made it outside the city, and now I'm just in a more quieter place surrounded by the same reptilian behavior. Big trucks skidding, people sticking their nose in people's business where it doesn't belong, people thinking that they own the road or that certain people of certain colors and bloodlines shouldn't be living there. Tell you what, I don't respond to the people prodding me for free information about settling in Costilla County. They're on their own. I already warned them. And there are people that really want me to tell them what they want to hear. And that's everything is fine. Their little entitled world isn't going to be shaken up. They can just come on down to Costilla County. Instead, maybe there would be other people that I may develop friendships with. And I'm open to that. In the western half, however, not Costilla County. Look at the map sometime. The western half includes places like Grand Junction. I think there's a place called Cortez somewhere out there. I think there's some other general cities in the southwest area. Then there's the up north area that I don't recall spending a lot of time yet. Looks like there's less trees, maybe a little bit more desert-like. I'm definitely not interested in Utah Arizona, other states other than, or regions other than the western half of Colorado. But there's going to be more people that are going to be arriving in the state. They're going to be surviving certain things to come. I believe that. And that includes Costilla County. There's going to be survivors in Costilla County, but the demographics aren't demographics that I can really work with. Too much Trump support, too much fear of Middle Eastern humans, i.e., Muslims, from the people that are trying to move into Costilla County. That prevents friendship with me. That prevents me from being able to help them because I'm the type of person that's profiled in the society that's confusing at times race with religion. And those aren't people that I can trust. Those aren't people worth helping. So there's a lot of people that are all about, as I wrap up my thoughts, their own and their own girlfriend and their own husband, their own boyfriend, whatever the case may be, their own wife, their own dog. There's a lot of people out there like to use me for nothing but information. Those days are over. Those days are over forever. One person worked me just to help him settle here. Those days are over unless I know someone. And it would be great to spread my wings and explore other parts of the state with other allies. Like I said, western part of Colorado, something I can travel to. That's within a few hundred miles. Stay out of those urban environments, those really other challenging areas in Colorado that I've already been through, been to more than once, more than twice. I'm done with Costilla. And I look forward to the future, but I'm also cautious because I've seen men with wives and girlfriends that are supposedly interested in community. But in most cases, their relationship with that woman is going to be number one. And their interest with regards to intentional community is going to be based around, because it's pure animalism. Who am I to say it's wrong? But it's going to be based in their self-interest with regards to their family unit. And if they're left-leaning, talk about the last individual that I met and promoted his off-grid thing with his wife, he was one of the meanest individuals that I have met in some time. And it pretty much has ended any desire on my part to meet any other men, any other women, any other people at all, period. Period. There's actually some rainbow individuals who lost one of their structures to a fire, and I was visiting where they live next door, and I noticed how the white girlfriends of the dude wouldn't even look at me once or say hello. And I know where that's coming from. And I'm telling you, it's getting really old being American in the United States, feeling like I'm in a friggin' Muslim country with the way that some people avoid communication with me for the most simplest of things, the most trivial of things. I'm Alex Hanser. It's now 7:30. I suppose the fireworks are about to start exploding the simulated bombs across America. Perhaps I'll be back soon.